Hello, Year 10. Apologies for the appalling quality of my microphone. Hopefully you can hear me. So what I've decided to do today is we're going to do a mini practice paper on everything that we've done so far in food resources. The way we're going to do this is a bit like a walking, talking mock, if you've ever done one of those. The way it will work is I will share my screen. I will talk you through the question and how you might like to try it, bugging it, giving you a bit of advice on structure. Then you can pause the video, have a go at the question, and then start it again, and we'll go on to the next question. And that means you can get as little or as much advice as you want. At the end of the paper, I will show you what I have written in timed conditions when I did this with Year 11 a couple of months ago. They said that this was really helpful. I think they were telling the truth. And I'd like you to have the same opportunity as them. Remember, the number of marks per question is roughly the number of minutes you should spend on that question. So try and bear that in mind. All right, with that in mind, here we go. Good luck. Okay, so here we have our mini practice paper on food resources. This is from paper 2, section C. Remember, paper 2 is your human geography paper. Section C is everything on resources. So we did a bit on water, a bit on energy, and now we're focusing in on food as our specialism. Remember to read everything on the page from the very top. So first it tells us to answer either question 4 or question 5 or question 6. I've only given you question 4 this time, but in your real exam, you will have all 3 questions available. The one that we've focused on is question 4, which is food. The other 2 questions focus in on water and energy, which we haven't done as much of. So you must only do question 4, only question 4. So let's begin. Study figure 11, a graph showing daily protein consumption for selected countries, 1960 to 2013. Let's have a look at the graph. Look at the axes first. So the y-axis shows protein consumption per person per day in grams. X-axis is years, up to 2013, and we've got different coloured lines with different countries on. First question, 4.1. What was the difference in protein consumption per person per day between China and the UK in 2013? I'm going to leave you on your own to do this one because you should be able to. It's 1 mark, so maximum 1 minute. Pause the video and off you go. Okay, question 4.2. Complete figure 11 using the following data. You've got countries on the left, Nigeria and Mozambique, and then on the right you've got daily protein consumption 2013. You're going to have to complete the graph using a sharp pencil and a ruler. If you make a mistake, you can rub it out. That's why it's important that you use pencil. Loads of people got this wrong when we tried it. You have to be extremely accurate. So for Nigeria, in 2013, we've got 64 grams of protein. So look at 2013 on the graph. Go up to Nigeria, and we need 64 grams of protein. Before you rush into this, make sure you look at how much each tiny square is worth. I'm not going to tell you, you can work it out yourselves. And then at 2013 for Nigeria, you're going to mark on 64 grams of protein. Do the same thing for Mozambique with 46 grams of protein, and it should all be correct. You've got 2 minutes, pause the video, off you go. Okay, on to question 4.3. Describe the trend for China shown in figure 11 for 2 marks. When it says trend, it means the general pattern. So it wants you to look at the graph and say, in general, what is happening to that line that represents China. Remember to use the words from the axis, so you're not just saying China increases, you've got to say what it is that's increasing. And because it's 2 marks, you're going to have to use data from the graph, so that you're saying 2 separate things. The data that you could use is maybe the amount of protein that is consumed per day per person. in 1960, and then what it is by the end. So using some data from the graph. You've got 2 minutes, off you go. Okay, question 4.4. Suggest why food consumption in a country might change over time, for 3 marks. Food consumption means consumed, how much food is consumed, which means eating. So why might the amount of food that people eat in a country change over time? It's 3 marks, so you're going to probably have to make at least 2 separate points and fully explain each one. You've got extra space at the bottom. The first point might be about changes in population, and then you'd have to explain how that would change food consumption. Would it go up or down? Second point could be something about changing diet, it could be about changing climate, anything that you've learned over the last few lessons. Remember to fully explain your points. You've got 3 minutes, pause the video, off you go. Okay, turn over to the next page for our final question. This is the big one. Now, when I wrote this, I intentionally put this bit of information above the photos. Lots of people, including me, forget to read the information that's at the top of the page. This one is particularly useful because you can use some of the information in your answer. It says, Figure 12, 2018, Yemen, where up to 20 million people are food insecure, and then it tells you the source of the photo. You can have a look at the photo, think about what is happening there, and then it'll link somehow to the question below. 4.5. Using Figure 12 and your own understanding, assess the consequences of food insecurity for 6 marks. The maximum number of marks you will have in this section of paper 2 is 6. You won't have any 9-mark questions on food resources, so this is the biggest one. Let's bug the question, because it's a big one. So, box the command words. Assess is one of your command words. Think about what that means. It means weigh up both sides of an argument. Another command that it gives you is using Figure 12 and your own understanding. Remember what we've said about this. You must refer to Figure 12 explicitly in your answer in order to get the highest marks, as well as your own understanding. Okay, underlining the keywords. I would underline consequences, food insecurity. And then the G in bug is for glance at the number of marks. It's 6 marks, which means we need to write 2 Peel paragraphs. Remember, Peel stands for point, evidence, explanation, and then link back to the question. So you're only going to need to make 2 points for this. That means 2 consequences of food insecurity. If you have extra time, you can carry on writing if you feel that you could add a bit more, but really all we need is 2 solid Peel paragraphs. So you need to think of 2 consequences of food insecurity, think of some evidence for it. You can use Figure 12, there's good evidence there of one of the consequences, use the numbers, and then think of another consequence for your second Peel paragraph. Hopefully that's enough help to get you started. Do make a little plan if you need. 6 marks is 6 minutes, but for these longer questions, you may overrun slightly, especially if you've been faster on the short mark questions. Give yourself maybe 10 minutes to do this. Pause the video, off you go. Okay, hopefully that's you done on this paper. I've made a separate video that takes you through the answers, and you can read what I wrote and see my planning and the bugging I've done of the questions, which should help you maybe mark your own if you want. or you can send it to me by email. Okay, really well done, guys, and I might do other videos in the future.